Alright, welcome back to another Koenchi-shan Reviews. And I am back again with round 2 of Otomo The Complete Works. Of course, Otomo Katsuhiro, famed for Akira, has been releasing all 41 of his previously released works. He began in January of this year with Animation Akira Storyboards 1 and Domu, or A Child's Dream, which came out in the early 80s and was translated into English. It's March now, and this round we have Animation Akira Storyboards 2 and a collection of shorts that he put out in the late 70s, Boogie Woogie Waltz. So we're going to take a look at these, and once again, I got lucky, just like last time, and I was able to score these early. The actual release date is March 18th, Friday, which is tomorrow. Today is Thursday the 17th here in Tokyo. I was manga hunting in Jimbocho, Central Tokyo, with a buddy from our Discord group. Join it. Link down below. Great way to find out about new titles and upcoming releases. Selfless plug. So, and I was able to track it down a day early. So here I am bringing you a review of the guts of these bad boys so you can decide if you want to pick them up as well. Alright, let's go. Let's start off with Animation Akira Storyboards 2. If you haven't seen the inside of Storyboards 1 yet, go back and watch my previous video. They pretty much are just color coding these by series. Domu was orange, Boogie Woogie Waltz is yellow, and this is part of 3. There's going to be a Storyboards 1, 2, and later number 23 will be 3. And I actually haven't seen inside this bad boy yet, so let's open it together. We can see here that the retail price was 4,400 yen, so about $40 US. And we have these dust covers that are these kind of thick plastic dust covers, which really look cool, but some people online have commented that they scratch easily. That's kind of why I keep mine, even when I'm not, reading them, inside plastic, so they don't get all scratched up and stuff. And if we look at this, I think the spines are going to form somewhat of a illustration at some point. See here, it kind of looks like it goes together, but in other parts it really doesn't. They color coded them together, but I really think they could have done much more to kind of tie these 3 storyboards 1, 2, and 3 together than they did, but whatever. I'm not too mad at it. I'm happy just to get them. Of course, Akira ran in Young Magazine from 1982 to 1990, and then everyone, we all know the anime and what it became, what a cultural icon it became. To be honest, if it wasn't for Akira, I might not be in Japan today. It was my gateway to Japanese anime culture and all things Japan. That, and I had Japanese friends. Those dudes are awesome. What up, Daisuke? So let's go through it and just see what we have here. I did comment when I went through Storyboards 1 that, it was good, and I'm a huge Akira fan, but I thought they could do more as far as like extras and commentary. But let's see what we have here in 2. So they kind of explain how to dissect each page. You have the picture, you have notes over here. This is the dialogue over here, the cut. So a little bit of information on how they lay everything out in these storyboards. Here's a dictionary of technical terms, Animation Akira Storyboard. Technical terms. So that's cool, if you're not well versed in anime production, I guess, then you get to learn a little bit here. And I like the sketches, it's cool. We get our cuts here. So obviously from Storyboards 3, it's going to start from 1,890 on up for, another 400 or so. wild politician trying to pack up his shit because shit's hit the fan. Money ain't gonna do you no good, man. Yeah, the art is really cool. I don't know, in my last flip through of Storyboards 1, I went through every page. I'm not too sure if I need to do that this time. Here he's dragging the suitcase, all of his money falling out. Everyone knows these scenes. And a heart attack. Streets are wild. You know, Akira, the comic that was released in America, was released in full color, right? But the Japanese was not released in full color. I mean, there's so many differences. There's so many like videos on YouTube here that you can find that break down the differences between the original Japanese release and the American release. So I'm not going to, go into too much detail about that. But one thing I can show you really quickly here. Uno momento, por favor. Chotto mate kudasai. They did put out a series of manga after the anime came out. These were released around, I believe, 1990. Let's take a look in the back. 1988. And these are all of the manga, not based on the manga, but based on the anime. And these were put out in full color. So these are really sick if you can track them down. I've been able to track down 2, 4, and 5. I need 1 and 3 to have the whole series. And these are the only Akira that we can get in full color all the way through in Japanese. But, the overseas releases, those were done in full color. And I really like these because it really is kind of like reading the anime. Pretty sick, right? You know what's going to happen on the next page, man. That clown gang, they don't joke around. So, anyways, you were lucky to get all that color. And, I don't want to go into who colored it, what happened. Here we have Tetsuo having a little bit of a breakdown over here, which is sick. Starting to come into his power. I like how they have the arrows here. His head's going to go up. Motion guides. And you never get sick of Kaneda's bike. It's just so sick. I said sick twice in one sentence, using sick 2 different ways. Can you believe that? Here we have whatever it is that Akira is coming out. This octopus type thing. We have the times down below, the numbers. The sketches really are spot on. And I like how they, a little bit of English in here, pan up. Some notes on the dialogue. Revisions. When I have some time, I'm going to actually go through this and actually read through the dialogue and see what some of the changes were. That would be really interesting. What I would like to see in here is like a break right here where they have commentary explaining why some of these changes were made, what they were doing, what was going on, what was going through Otomo's head when he was storyboarding this, but we don't get that. And again, 30 years of putting out stuff, getting towards the end, 41 works out there. It's not that he's going for a cash grab per se, but I think that he's kind of like, I did it. It's done. I want to get it out there again so everyone can get access to it. But I feel like there could have been a little bit more put into these as far as extras go. And I mean, wouldn't you just love to see like something like, here, let's find a good panel. Let me skip forward a little bit. God, what's a good example? Wouldn't it be great? Okay, yeah. So where his arm has dematerialized, wouldn't it be, or got blasted off? Wouldn't it be cool to see that on the next page in full color, so that you can see like the storyboard, and then you can see like the final result? I would have been stoked to see that. Have at least a few pages throughout that capture some of those great scenes from Akira in full color as they were done when they were finished. And man, that would have just given me a big old Akira boner. But nope. Wait, Akira was the child. I probably shouldn't say that. But nope. It's, like the bike, when there's just so many classic scenes in it, I would just love to see a little bit of color mixed in here and a little bit of commentary explaining why things were done the way they were done. There's a kind of a raffle associated with this. If you collect them all, then you're eligible to join a raffle and you get like a prize and stuff. So you have to save these if you pick these up and you want to be eligible for the raffle at the end, which is going to take a few years. I think that they're putting out 2 volumes per month over the next, whatever it is, 41. So do the math, man. Do the math. I'm a manga reader over here, not a mathematician. Still sick. Not hating. Just saying. I always want more. So there we go. There we have Kaneda on the bike shooting at Tetsuo, which is, a classic scene, especially that close-up. When it closes up right before he shoots that laser beam. Sick. Wouldn't you just like to turn the page and just see that in full color right here? That would be sick. I will not say S-I-C-K anymore. I promise. Oh, the squishery. Flashback scene to when they're kids. I like this. I like how they storyboarded that out. It's cool. And the classic scene of, what looks like a nuclear blast of some sort. I don't know if I like the squeakiness of this dust cover, though. Well, at least not for video making. Got so many classic scenes. Alright, let's skip ahead a little bit, because we still have to look at Boogie Woogie Waltz, which is deep, because it's one of his earlier works. Ju-on was his first. I believe that's his first full length, which is coming out in, God, I want to say October or November of this year, and it's pretty much impossible to find here in Tankobon. So some of this stuff, you know, I have Boogie Woogie Nights digitally, but I don't have the physical because I've never been able to find it at a reasonable price. All right, and we have the monster stuffed animal hallucination going on. And then I like this part, these rough sketches from page 327. If you're a creator, then these are awesome, probably awesome reference guides. But, you know, again, believe they could have put a little bit more into it. Yeah, but I do like the sketch pages. These are pretty cool. Here you get the rough sketch, and then over here you get the storyboard, a little bit more detail, and then of course, if we turn the page and we saw the actual finished product that went into the anime, the actual, you know, cell, that would have been really dope. But I'm again barking up the wrong tree here because I do enjoy this. I do enjoy seeing like kind of the behind the curtain, so to speak. So not hating, just stating, man, just stating. And let's see if we have anything at the end. Well, this is our first little bit of color. Looks like a magic marker. Oh, that's sick. As the blues get swallowed. And we do have a short essay commentary by Otomo here at the end. So I'm looking forward to reading this a little bit later. And that is about it for Akira Storyboards 2. All right, let's take a short break here, and we'll be back with Boogie Woogie Waltz. Do you want to see some of the most vile, gory, disgusting, and just wild and weird stuff from my collection of over 1,200 volumes of rare and weird manga? Then head over to Koenji-shan Reviews on Patreon. That's where I post all of my stuff that is not safe for traditional SNS like YouTube and Instagram. And don't worry, I post regular stuff over there too. At least one video a week, sometimes two. And I put up scans, I put up posts of other things that I'm working on. So head over to Koenji-shan Reviews on Patreon, just $3 a month. It's the only tier, unlimited access to everything on there. All right, let's get back to it. Moving on to Boogie Woogie Waltz, a collection of short stories, all released between 1974 and 1976, just after Otomo left high school. So I actually don't have the physical of this, as I mentioned before, but I do have it digitally. I power reread it this afternoon so that I can actually, know what I'm talking about here. But I have not opened this yet either, so let's get into it. This was a bit cheaper. Of course, anything Akira is going to go for more money, and Akira Storyboards 1 was selling better than Domu and going off the shelves quicker, and I could tell because I go to a lot of bookstores, obviously. And this one's priced at 3,190 yen with tax, compared to 4,400 yen with tax. And this is actually a bigger, thicker volume than Storyboards, but it doesn't have the Akira name attached to it, so obviously they're not charging as much money for it. I do like the look of it. It looks slick. There's the spine for you. And here's the back cover. So this was never officially translated into English, but there is a fan scan out there in English of one of the chapters, just one of the chapters. And I've never seen anything else in English on this before. But some of it you don't need to be able to speak Japanese to really get into it and to understand it. Some of it you do. Let's go through it together. I will help you out. All right. Of course, Otomo has always been a fan of music and incorporated it into his stories. So there's even one chapter in here called Rock, about some rock bands. Of course, Sayonara Nippon was largely based around a band and a kind of music theme. We have Boogie Woogie Waltz, One Down, and a bunch of other shorts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 in here. And these were all in the original. And then this one, so this is Kagami, or Mirror, and this is Kagami Jikoku, or Mirror Hell, which is actually an addition that wasn't in the first one, I believe, at least not in my digital download that I got. So, and then we have commentary in the back here, and the commentary is great. So let's get into it. Boogie Woogie Waltz, lots of short stories. One thing I can mention about the commentary really quickly, actually before we get into it, he mentions in the commentary that when he was in high school, he had been reading Miyaya Kazuhiko, who was a prolific artist in the 60s and 70s. He's quite famous for this, which is Nikudan Jidai, or Flesh Bomb era. So Flesh Bomb era stuff was popular in the late 70s, Fukushima Masami and Miyaya, and he drew quite realistically, not just Flesh Bomb stuff, but he also did stuff like this. This is Seishun Sozokunin, and this Miyaya as well. Here, let me find some. Quite realistic in his approach. You see something like the girl holding the gun here. And Otomo says that he read this in high school and decided that he wanted to also do manga in a realistic style. So I thought that was really interesting. And, he really does do his manga in a very realistic style, albeit sometimes there's fantastical things going on in it. This first story is about this down and out loser. He's got a gun. He goes to a brothel. The woman convinces him to not stay at the brothel, but instead meet her after work for a private rendezvous, which, of course, the club owners don't like, but she can pocket the money on her own. And, basically, this guy shows up when he's over at her house. He never ends up hooking up with her. He, at one point, tries to pull a gun, and the gun doesn't go off, and he gets his ass kicked. Boogie Woogie Waltz. When I say I power read this today, it's 200 and I believe 68 pages, at least the digital one is, so this one's even longer. This one is 362, 63 pages, something like that. So I skipped heavy dialogue. I just went through as a kind of a refresher. Yeah. But let's keep going. Lots of gangs, lots of blood, lots of violence. I wish I had the original physical so that we could do a side-by-side with these. Knife fight, that looks really cool. This almost reminds me of something that Kamimura Kazuo would draw. The empty space. But the characters are definitely Otomo. Alright, here we're at story number 3, One Down. About a student. Again, the realism is there, very story-based. And a lot of his short stories focus on one person and their inner challenge, something that they're struggling with, some sort of inner struggle. Mezame yo to yobu koi ari. So, you know what I did? So for each chapter, down in the notes down below, I translated each chapter into English, but it's not an official translation because they've never been officially translated, right? So I called this voice calling to Awaken, but I'm sure that someone else out there could translate all of these titles a little bit better, and it gives I put the release date down below as well for each chapter. So it opens with these doctors doing an autopsy. And we have this street caller out here. Again, these are for the raffle or the lottery to win a special prize at the end if you collect them all. It's like Pokemon cards. Check this out. They're dissecting the body and they start pulling out the eyeball. Throw it in a cup. That's sick, dude. This one's a little bit surreal. Definitely a different side of Otomo. And again, it's one of his earlier works. Everything was released between 74 and 76, so, but his art, like his ability as an artist, can't be denied, even at this age. I mean, he's in his early 20s here, you know. Or less, because it's just a little bit after high school. God, I wonder how old he was. I should have put the math together. I'd say he's around 20. That's just off the top of my head, though. I'd have to look it up. So this guy is chatting with this girl at the bar. These kind of, I don't know if they're Yakuza or if they're Chimpira or like kind of lower level gang members come in. This guy roughs up his lady friend a little bit, drags her out. Lots of musicians in the background of this one. Lots of music references throughout. See, there's a lot of these stories that are light on dialogue. There's some that are heavy, but I mean, if you're an Otomo fan or an Akira fan, then for, you know, what was it? 3,000 yen? $30? It's definitely worth picking up Boogie Woogie Waltz, in my opinion. Now, storyboards, you have to be a die-hard Akira fan to really want that, because, like I said, there's just not enough extras in it. wait, let me go back to this story. So this guy ends up leaving, running out of town with the gang member's girlfriend. And then she comes up with the idea that they're going to kill themselves. This is all actually called shinju. Shinju means double suicide or suicide together. And we can see the kanji here, shinju. And she's like, let's just kill ourselves. And at the end of this story here, they're on a train. And she just says, come on, let's do it. Jumps off the train. And she flies off a bridge to her death. He's like, okay, let's do it. Let's go. Let's go. He jumps off. And it appears here, if you look in detail, that he just lands on a station platform. The irony. This is Anyakoro, I guess is how you would read it. Means the dark night road. This one I know a little bit about, actually, because I was reading about it in the comments in the back. So when he was a young dude, just out of high school, living out in Urawa in Saitama, he went with a trucker with his buddy, and they drove all the way to Nagoya. And during that drive, I don't know if they hitched a ride or what happened, but he just says that he was with a trucker in a truck all the way to Nagoya. And it was Nagano. It was Nagano. Now I remember, sorry. And then he decided at that point that he wanted to write a story based on a trucker. And that's what this is. This is a trucker. He's sleepy, but he's also a psycho. Runs these motorcyclists off the road. Rear ends this car with this couple in it. There's some Bosozoku motorcycle gang members make an appearance in here. This guy is basically a piece of shit. Just dirty trucker. And I'm not saying all truckers are dirty. I'm just saying this one is dirty. The Bosozoku gang is catching up. We have them all chasing him down here. You think that they're going to do something to him, maybe take him out. He's like, what the hell? This is dangerous. Truck almost does a little spill. And then he just opens up the door and just blasts the dude. And that, my friends, is the end. God, this is a weird one. So that was part 1, and this is part 2. These are Kizu Darake no Tenshi, or angel covered in cuts. Maybe we can translate it to, this one is Paku. Maybe Paku. How would I translate this? How did I translate it before? The shit hasn't turned white at the end of the day. Lots of stories about drugs, prostitution, and kind of the people that are in a bit of the underbelly of society. And the 70s must have been wild. The art is really amazing, though. The ending of this one is a little bit weird. So she slits her own wrist. They're kind of going through a hard time and stuff. And she says, I'm not gonna die. Shochan, I'm not gonna die. This is, of course, Kizutarake no Tenshi number 3. And this is a Sprinters Collective. Sprinters Collective, about some high school kids on a track and field team. Which is, the funny part is, again, this is the 70s, remember. Let's skip ahead. I think this is Charles Mingus here. Lots of music references. But yeah, back then, even if you were on track and field, you're still laying in bed smoking in high school. The main character here, he's only in a track and field, has awful grades. I should know who this is, but I do not. They're at the bar getting all wasted in high school, chain smoking and boozing it up. I like this part. He's got an exam, but instead of trying to do the exam, he just draws a Bakamon drawing on here. Akatsuka F. Fujio, right? And it ends with him doing a false start, or a flying, and running up and kissing this girl. Alright, on to Kizu Darake no Tenshi number 4. Shuaku no, what is it? Kishimi? How did I translate that? Like the horrific creak or horrific? It's kind of a creak or a sound, a squeak or a creak. It's basically about this dad who's a salaryman, and he's kind of a piece of shit. He's out with some ladies of the night with his coworker, but it opens with him and his family, right? He looks like he smokes some weed, gets too tanked on the whiskey and the weed, goes back to her house. There's this big 21-year-old chubby sister of this lady of the night, and then her man comes home, or brother, look, Yakuza tatted up. He and her are undressing him. And then we flash ahead to him back at home in his danshi, or apartments, which are a big part of Domu, right? These big, giant housing complexes, or government housing complexes. Alright, this is Chunpara, Boogie Woogie, Chunpara Boogie. Chunpara Boogie Woogie, Chunpara Boogie. This is about a guy who has built a bomb out of dynamite, some sticks of dynamite, and he's going out on the town and he's going to kill some people with this bomb. And he doesn't know where to go. He drops it in a movie theater. He's in a movie theater. He just keeps on going on and on. He's just dumb, dude. But the artwork is amazing. He ends up in a department store for the wealthy, some sort of Mitsukoshi or something like that. And he decides he's going to put it in one of the rooms. And then he gets locked in, the doorknob comes off and he gets locked in the room. And the room isn't just any room, but it is a show window. And there's the bomb in the corner. It's going to go off in 10 minutes. And he is locked in the show window at this fancy pants department store. Scotto Skiri. I don't know. It's kind of like pleasantly refreshing, or refreshingly refreshing, which sounds weird. But he noted in the comments that he wrote this after he bought a fan. Yes, many people didn't even have air conditioners and were happy to have fans. It's too hot. Gotta get out, man. Gotta get out. I should speed this up a little bit. And there we have our fan. Alright, this one is called Street Murder, I believe. Street Murder, which in Japanese is, what was it? There's rock. God, The order is a little bit out of whack. But anyways, this girl gets murked by this dude in pajamas with a knife. Oh, man. I know I made a note somewhere. I think the order is slightly different than the original. God, I wish I had the original in physical so that we can do a side by side. Yeah, getting drunk with the buddies. There's another girl walking home at night. Here's the pajama man with the knife shows up again. So this guy realizes he's been sleepwalking. Muyubyo, as they say in Japanese. Sleepwalking and murdering women. But then we find out later, was it really him that was sleepwalking and murdering women? Or was it someone else? Here we have rock, getting back to the rock and roll theme. And this one is about some shabu. Shabu is Japanese methamphetamine or speed. So this girl, she's a singer. And she is hooked on the speed. Here she's got 5 bindles. She's shooting up and stuff. And basically it just goes through her she sings rock and roll, does drugs, and prostitutes herself. This guy's like, I've never made it with a Japanese high schooler before. Japanese teenager is what he says. I've never done it with a Japanese teenager before, which is a little bit disturbing. The artwork, this hatching in the background, all this line work, it's insane, dude. The reflection down here. I mean, most people would just use zip tone, right? But not Otomo. Otomo. It's late, guys. I will be up for another hour or so editing this as well. And this one's just like a lot of rock and roll, but we also have a gun rears its ugly head. Also a boner. In the original one, I've seen the original panel of this, and it's just a big white square sticking up. And you're like, dude, I know that guy's a white guy, but it doesn't mean that he's got a dong that sticks up that like a goddamn flagpole. But that one, they mosaiced it out. And there's a little bit of murder. This is Kagami, or mirror, which is really cool. I like the way this is all framed. So there's some shorts here. See, no dialogue. You can get it. We see a murder. He's got a knife there. A murder happens, and then he looks in the mirror, and he sees someone else looking through a mirror from somewhere else. And then the mirror explodes. And then moving on, this couple has killed this man. There is a kid outside who saw what went down. And he's holding a mirror. He's flashing it in the window. They're debating whether to go kill the kid or not. And that is the mirror. And this one is about 2 twins. One of the twins hates his older brother but loves himself. And this is, I think here, let me go ahead for a second. Edogawa Rampo, I believe that this is based. Okay, so this one is Edogawa Rampo. So this is Otomo's original. And then, like here, the younger brother has, I don't know, like knocked him out, or I don't know if he's dead yet or not, the brother. But he digs a hole in the wall, and then he seals the dead body of his brother in the wall with plaster. He loves himself, mirror, and then when he's kissing himself in the mirror reaches out and grabs him, and it's his brother. And then here, we can see down here, Edogawa Rampo, Kagami Jigoku, which is mirror hell. And I guess that Otomo was a big fan of Edogawa Rampo, as there's so many horror mangaka have done remakes, including Junji Ito, or just go down the list of famous horror mangakas in Japan. Everyone has done something based on Edogawa Rampo, not only because Rampo was so prolific, but also because he is out of copyright, so you can do whatever the hell you want with his stories. And this is, of course, illustrated by Otomo, but a story written by Edogawa Rampo. And I've never read this, so I'm kind of spoiling myself because it wasn't in the original. So that was a little addition. And here in the back, we have some commentary. I don't know if this is the same commentary as the original. The original was an interview, not commentary. So I'll be excited to read this. This is cool. So this is what I'm talking about with extras that I want to see. And there just were not as many extras in here in Akira Storyboards 1 and 2 that I had hoped for. And then here at the back, we have Otomo's commentary. Again, thanks to everyone who watches my videos. It especially helps if you sub, like, and share. Pop a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Are you going to pick these up? What do you think? Did I say something that was weird? What do you think, man? Let me know in the comments down below. And as I mentioned during our intermission, I have a Patreon, Koenji-shan Reviews. $3 a month. You get to see some of the wildest, horrid, sexy, weird, and rare stuff from my collection of now over 1,300 volumes. So get on over there to Patreon, sub. I have new content, exclusive content up there every week, at least once, sometimes twice, sometimes even, when I'm feeling it, 3 times. So get on over there, and thanks for watching. Until next time, mate ne.